Good morning. Wait. All right. You're muted.
Thank you.
There you are.
It's so different than the other day. Look, I could burst into song. What a difference a day makes. Yeah.
I'll try to be as Kellerized as possible today. It's not typically my way. I told Antoine this morning. I said, I hope Gary's not listening.
I'm sure he'll be fine. Never know. Oh, Tipper's calling me. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
Is that you breathing, Matt?
Probably.
Breathing. Taking deep breaths, getting ready for this. This is so much easier in person.
Yeah, I've not done one of these in person yet.
All right. Well, then you're a pro at Zoom, right? This is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, right. As long as I can find the link. That's usually my biggest problem.
Yes. Well, you can link them to your calendar, you know.
Yes.
It's that system.
I'm going to add that to my list of things I need to get better at doing. I was late. I was like 4 minutes late for my coaching call this week because I couldn't find the conference call link. Whatever. Getting it done.
I can relate. That's one thing that Stephanie is very, very good at, is putting things on the calendar. And without that, I'd be lost. Well, I wouldn't be lost, then I'd be Googling, or not Googling,
Right.
searching. Now, what was that class called again? What was it?
Right. How's everyone in England? Your family?
They're good. My daughter's high risk, so she hasn't been out of the house for, I don't know, 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
But they're celebrating VE Day today, Victory in Europe Day. So
Yeah.
25 years. So there's lots of concerts, and you know,
Online.
Well, yes, online, or solo concerts. You know.
Right.
And then there's concerts out in the street where everybody's out in the backyard or front yard. And I was just watching one that a friend of mine sent me from England, and it's some guy up the road who's playing, he's a DJ in, you know, real life, if you like. And of course, he's not going anywhere. So he's got his music out there. They're having a street party.
Oh, nice.
But nobody's mixing. They've just all got tables at the front of the garden or right on the
Yeah.
street. Yeah.
Wow.
Look at these rock stars on this call. I'm so proud.
Oh.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Everyone looks awesome.
Thank you.
I see that you two, I'm not going to ask if you have pants on like the reporter, but from the top up, everyone's looking awesome. Very good.
I do have pants on because I've actually got to go into one of the market centers. So it will be.
I have something to do after this, so I'm like ready to go out the door.
Yeah, that's like me. I've got the keys and everything that I need to take right outside the door.
Which one are you on to, Kay?
Level Gateway.
Okay. Oh, for Shane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Meeting him at 11:30. No, 10:30.
Very good. Tell him I said hello.
No, sorry, 11:30. It's 11:30. I'm getting my times mixed up. Yes, I will. Meeting Darlene there too.
You got quite a few people on the call. This is awesome.
Well, that's good. It's always good when people turn up, right?
Yes.
26. Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm sure we'll be getting more.
I do have to point out that I see that Antoine is muted. That is a first of a firsts. Oh, he's unmuted. He's going to give me a call there. Oh.
Yeah.
I love you, Antoine.
Hello. I love you too, my queen.
His mother did teach him right.
It's much better than grandma. Obviously, mine didn't.
Yeah. I'm going to have a talk with yours. When I get up there.
Good luck with that. You might.
Matt.
Aaron and Christine are on.
It looks like
Good morning, guys.
Profile picture.
Who's talking? Who said that? I didn't hear.
Aziz.
Oh, what's up, Aziz?
Matt, it looks like you stole my outfit from my profile picture.
I did. Look at that. Great minds.
Morning,
Great.
everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Oh, hello, Sarah.
Normally, I'd say, woohoo, it's Friday, but you know, it's like.
I went to bed Wednesday night, Kay, and I swore it was Friday. And I look at Thursday, I was like, son of a Gone, it's Thursday.
I know.
That's okay. I told Kay yesterday, happy Friday. So I'm with you.
I said, it can't be Friday. It can't be Friday. And I've missed the regional call. Oh no. Panic.
I think I had all I could take. So I was it's Freudian. It needed to be Friday yesterday.
Right. Well, it's a happy day anyway. We're alive. Well, it's not actually raining. This is good.
Hold your breath. Hold your breath.
Hey, it's supposed to snow, I believe. Oh, we're getting some sea. Right.
All can have the snow
Who's getting
Nope.
snow?
up north and in our mountains.
Yeah.
Wow. Hello, Donna.
Hi, Pam.
Hey, Pam.
Who's shouting out at me?
John
Oh, hey,
Pace,
John.
how are you?
I'm good.
Lizzie and I were talking about you this morning in a good way.
Thank you.
Were your ears burning?
Is there any other way to talk about her, but in a good
Of
way?
course.
Oh, that was sweet. Thank you.
We love
What's up,
you.
John Gordon?
Good morning, John Pace. Good to see you.
Good to
As
see
well.
you as well. Miss singing in Richmond. I'm missing everybody in Richmond, to be honest with you. But
That's a fair point. Yeah. No, I miss you guys. Hope all is well.
thank you.
You too, John. This is Juanita Leatherberry.
Oh, Juanita, how are you?
I'm great, and you?
Fantastic, thank you.
Good.
Hey, Rick.
Hello,
Mhm.
Donna.
How are you?
All right.
Good. How about you?
Good.
All right. Who are we waiting for? It's 10 o'clock. Are we waiting for Joe? Lon? Hello? I don't have control.
Now
of
we're
the-
gonna have Bo should be kicking us off here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Joe. Hey,
What's going on,
you're
Kay?
out
How are
playing, you playing golf there? Is that
Well, I
golf?
mean, I'm still waiting on the back order on my home office supplies. So I'm working between a coffee table, a kitchen island, and my recliner here. So.
So you travel around, you know, you kind of in different locations. That's pretty cool.
Joe, you're ruining it for us. We thought you were really there and that was your backdrop. Thanks a lot for the buzzkill.
Yeah, we were living vicariously through you then, right?
I appreciate it. You know, I think I'm trying to see if there's any other creative ones that I've had. I had Golden Girls for a little bit. That was really cracking my team up. So
I need a new computer so I can actually do that.
Me
I know, Kay,
too.
we could be on the Golden Girl backdrop. We could do our own.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, Tipper, you don't need a backdrop for that.
I know, that was my point.
And you know,
Thank-
Tipper, thank you for being a friend.
Oh yeah. I'll don't get me singing to you, honey. Don't get me singing. It'd be ugly.
It's still early.
This
Yeah.
is true.
Quentin, don't encourage her, please.
Okay, don't take away my fun.
I'm still on stage with her, don't talk.
Oh boy, what a crew. What a crew.
Oh dear.
Morning, Quentin. Your hair's growing back.
It's getting a little more, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of happy with my COVID cut.
I just changed my background. Who can guess where I am?
all right.
Schitt's
So-
Creek.
Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. So we've got Kay, Bellas is going to be our moderator today, and also taking care of the conversation around mindset and moving into the market that we've got. So Kiana, you got control of the PowerPoint here. If we could move into the next slide, please. So Bo Mankitti, I'm going to do my best impersonation. At least I can hear the haircut here as Bo Mankitti. So let's move into the next one. So everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. And I think from a leadership standpoint at the region, as well as the market centers, is that now more than ever, are we digging in and working 12 plus hours a week. I mean, I was talking with the MCAs for about 2 hours on a training course, and I can really see that, you know, if we weren't passionate about the client, the agent partners that we serve, and really digging into their business and helping them shift and redevelop the future for real estate, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. And I think times like this, like I personally in my offices was able to get 4 agents funding with the PPP loans. And while it was only 4 of 1,000 agents based on funding, I was sitting back, going to sleep last night and really kind of just reflecting on that type of impact that I had with 4 different independent agents being able to get about 21,000 in low interest loans. And I think that's the real impact. It's not about the transactions. It's not about units sold. It's really impacting people's lives and understanding how your influence and impact as an expert can really help those that might not know that and being able to guide through it. So a little leadership nugget there to start. So let's go to the next one, please. So the agendas, we'll go through these opening remarks, some COVID updates, and then we'll dive right into handing the baton off to Kay to dig into the content for this call. All right. So we've got COVID updates for it. So we're going to be giving updates between Maryland, DC, Virginia, as well as West Virginia. As you can see, as far as total cases, Maryland's leading that as far as total cases being just under 30,000. They were obviously the first ones to really drive testing. Virginia being at 21,000 as total test case positive. I think you're going to be looking at probably the next 2 to 3 weeks as a peak in the Virginia, Maryland, DC area. You know, you can see that kind of leading within PSI for new testing within the area. It doesn't start till June 2nd in Virginia. So I think you're going to be seeing somewhere in the next month, we should be starting to see some restraints come back out. But as we peak, and then DC is kind of in a weird area with testing and the availability for it. So if you want to go into West Virginia, please. Then West Virginia, so we've got testing is not as prevalent as in the Maryland, DC area, but we've got about 1,200 positive tests. So you're looking at the total percentage positive in that is about 2% of the people that are actually being tested within West Virginia. So as we go through this, and as they're you know, still keeping people aware of the prevalence of COVID and still doing social distancing is going to be important. But as we track these numbers, understand how's that impacting the market. So that being said, let's roll right over to Kay. And Kay, it's all yours.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Joe. I really appreciate it. So I really am honored to be here this morning. For those of you who don't know me, I can read it. You can read it there. It's the General Manager for Growth and Development for the Alliance Group. My name's Kay, and I actually, because we're talking about mindset, I want to take you back. I want to kind of take you back in time, not very long, back to about December 2019. At that point, your business was having its annual checkup. You were basically taking it to your physician, your regular doctor. You were looking at it, you were building your business plan, you were looking at your vital signs, you were excited for the spring market. You'd done your 411, your GPS, and a lot of you had done a vision board as well. You were ready to go. There was no mention of the pandemic. We had no clue about that. You were up and ready for that exciting spring market. So just take yourself back there. And what your mindset was like as a primary care physician in your business. Now fast forward about 3 to 4 months, suddenly your business is in the ER. What you're doing there is you're pivoting your business. And what does that mean? We heard that word a lot. It means it's a tool to discover additional growth and how you use that and your mindset to seize higher ground. How do we do that? So I've got 2 gentlemen here today with me who are very experienced in their business. We have John Pace from the Pace of Richmond in the Richmond Market Center, and Matt Laver, who's ML Real Estate Group from the Chantilly Market Center. So John and Matt, John, do you want to start and bring us up to speed on who you are, what you were looking at last year, and what you're projecting this year, and where you are on target?
Yeah, great to. Thanks for having me, Kay. Appreciate being here. Hello, everybody. John Pace with the Pace of Richmond Group down in Richmond, Virginia. Last year, in fact, we've been on a plateau the past couple of years where we were trending between 63 and 68 homes a year for about the past 4 years. Last year, we sold 68 homes, average sales price of $316,000. This year, the goal this year was 110. And actually, to be honest with you, I've had 100 on my goal board for the past 7 years. And to your point of December, Kay, looking at where we are and where we're going, like this is the year. Right now, though we're still having a heck of a year, we are right now at 43 closed and pending.
Wow.
I think we're going to be right about 50 when we hit June. So we're trending somewhere in that 95 to 110 range. And if the market opens up like I think it's going to, I think we'll hit that 110.
Fabulous. Thank you, Matt.
Hi, yeah, Matt Leva. I'm up here in Chantilly. I got my license in 2017, just kind of on a whim. Really helped one friend sell his home at the end of the year, and just kind of got excited about it. In 2018, I did 9 transactions, and really started to develop kind of a love for it. And then last year really started growing, and we hit 31 transactions. This year, I started a team kind of at the end of last year, so I have a few agents with me that are fantastic, and we are 29 closed and pending for the year so far. Really trending towards 60 for the year, which would be a really fantastic hit for us. So we're feeling good, and I'm really enjoying it.
So what I hear you both say is this was the year, and it still is the year.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the defining moment that changed your mindset from, especially, John, you hit that wall for a couple of years.
Yeah.
What was the defining moment? What changed in your mind?
So the defining moment was actually 4 or 5 years ago when I went to Agent Expansion Systems, ESO, in Austin. And I left there realizing it's not about expanding, it's about building your hub. And ever since then, I've been on a tear to get the best talent I can find to build our administrative support so that we can hire the right agents and attract the right talent to join us. And we finally have hit that mark. And it just took a while to get to that point where I felt we had the right people in the place so we could attract the right agents so we could sell the most homes, and it's clicking right now. We've got the right people in spot, that's what I'm most excited about over anything is the talent we have on the team now.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you. And Matt, 9 to 31. Wow. What happened? What was your defining moment? What happened to your mindset and your structure and your team?
In all honesty, I was pushed to do Bold last year, and I did Bold with Scott Toombs, and I felt a synergy with Scott. Just for some reason, it just felt right doing Bold and learning from him. And I had a moment in the first few weeks of Bold where I sat there, and between kind of listings that I was working on and buyers I was working with, I sat and I said, wow, I'm 8 weeks into the year, and if everything I have going closes, that's $80,000 of commission. That's $10,000 a week. And I had this, it was like my brain exploded all at one second. And I said, that's $520,000 for the year if I stay on track. And it just showed me what could happen. And so I think it kind of gave me a little bit of a, I want to say a kick of obsession with it. And it's exciting. I'm a very competitive person. I was a college athlete. And to me, this is where I can use my competitive drive. And so it's really been, I think that was really the change for me, just realizing what could be instead of that self-limiting belief where, for a while I thought, well, that only happens to some people, and that's not me. So.
If you're coming on, if you can mute yourself, that'd be great. So what I'm hearing is there's an intensity, a decision, a defining moment to change. And it was Bold. It was also another class. So can you tell us a bit about your structure of your team? What systems did you put in place? what systems do you put in place to make this change to actually get the leads?
I'll go first on that one. So I think we're like similar to Matt in that we are really heavily driven on our sphere. I was going through my numbers again today before we got on this call, and we're still at 90% of our business comes from our database, people we know. And that's one thing we've never changed. I mean, whether it's been a phenomenal market or a great recession or a COVID-19 market, that's the one thing we're always leading with is our sphere. And so that has never changed. Now, how we react, how we interact with the sphere has changed. And we're modifying that as we're going through this quarantining piece right now. But at the end of the day, it's calling your people, and offering value. And so we put in some new systems in place with our CRM that, you know, drives what we do so we don't forget to do things. Okay, but I think I answered your question. Was I in the right path there?
Yep, that's good. Can you dig a bit deeper when you say you've got some new systems?
So we've been using Brivity for the past couple of years, and now we're starting to implement Command and marrying them up together. Andrew, who is our growth director, is responsible for helping us find new business and find new talent. And so he has been marrying up the Command system, and it's been generating leads like crazy for us in the past. We've just started doing it in the past, I think, 10 days. I got 3 in the past 12 hours from a Facebook lead we ran. So implementing that piece with our Brivity system, which was working really well for us to run the operations side of our team. So we've just been using those systems. And the thing is, pick a system and stick with it and be really good with it, and don't change at the moment because something new came up and shiny. Stick with your system. If it's a reason to change for budgetary, go for it. I mean, Command is pretty damn incredible. For right now, we've got so many things built out where we are. It doesn't make sense for us to make a change when the world is changing around us.
Okay, so so you're using Facebook Accelerator? All right, great. And you also mentioned you were changing the way you spoke. Whoa, suddenly got a big screen of John pacing. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
So what are you, how are you talking? Because we talk about mindset. How are you talking differently to your clients, or indeed, are you talking differently? Yeah,
well, we've pivoted. This is a conversation we're having regularly with the team, is that these calls are all about the client now. I mean, for us, we are not asking for business unless the conversation goes that way. So for us right now, it is calling about care, checking in. How are you doing? Is there anything you need? Any questions we can answer? We are just here as a resource for you. And inevitably, the conversation, they'll ask, how are you doing, John? How's business? And it goes into a real estate conversation. And then we start asking about their house and if they have any questions or concerns or any needs around that. And so it's at the end of the day, if we just call them and we just ask them how they are and they say, we're great, we don't need anything, I'll end the call. I'm done. I just want them to know they're hearing from us. And that is the backbone of how we drive business to our team. And then we layer that on top of that with social media, video, newsletters and stuff like that. So we're laying on top of that. But in my opinion, we don't earn the right to do anything else until we've called our people.
Okay, super. Thank you. Matt, do you have a different message for your sphere-based people?
No, I think we're just trying to be present, you know, and my team, honestly, a lot of our focus is still meeting new people. I know we're in a different environment, but we're still getting out there. We're still talking to people, and whether it's on social media or our Instagram accounts, we're just trying to be present. I haven't really had a lot of business conversations with any of my sphere unless they were started by them, which a lot of times, you know, it's a text message. And then the next question obviously is how's the market? So that's where the conversations are going. But we are still, you know, actively working to meet new people and grow that sphere, because that is the majority of our business. That's where it comes from as well. A big change for us has been, you know, open houses have been a real success for me personally. And it's a way that we've grown. I can almost attribute 1 to 2 deals that come out of every open house I do. It's been that successful. And so that's, I think, been the one challenge of, okay, how do we get in front of those active people now that we're not able to be as present, but we're still able to do it. And you know, it's still turning into business.
So really, I really want to get a handle on how are you thinking differently? You mentioned about having to think differently because you're virtual, especially for open houses, or you're picking up the phone and tying that in with your social media. So how are you thinking differently now we're in May than you were, say, in February, March?
You know, I got to be honest. I don't know that we're really thinking all that differently. I think we're maybe approaching things a little bit differently, but I get the sense from the agents on my team, and I know from me, I'm not really looking at things all too differently. I'm still attacking each day the same way I was before. It's just maybe trying to, I would say, hit that second layer of sphere right now that I view it as kind of the people I talk to on a regular basis. And then there's this whole other group that follow me on Instagram that I used to have a friendship with, connection with. I coached soccer for the last 15 years of my life. So I've got all these kids now that have graduated high school, graduated college, and all of a sudden are starting to get reconnected with me. And it's because we're starting to have some interesting conversations about buying their first home and letting their buddies pay their mortgage for them. And so I think that's a lot of where I think that might be the change, is that I'm trying to peel back that layer that, you know, when we're busy and we're running our day to day, that I may not be hitting that layer as much. And all of a sudden now it's starting to open up again.
Okay, cool, super. So, and I know we've got some great questions here, so I'll leave some of those until the end, if that's a little bit later. So we talked a little bit about the trends. So we're seeing obviously fewer listings. So how are you going to maintain your momentum with your mindset and your activities so that they match moving forward?
For us, it's sticking to what we were doing before this all started. So we're really big on time blocking our most important things of the day. That's not changed. You know, we're still time blocking my lead generation from 9 to 11 in the morning. We're still, you know, setting appointments for the afternoon and evenings or weekends, whatever's important there. But I think it's really important, Kay, in this conversation, is just don't forget what got you where you are. And just because we're in a different environment, the basics still matter at the end of the day. So we are really big on staying to point of lead generating daily. And like I said before, then we're layering up social media stuff on top of that as an added bonus and plus. And like Matt said, it's not doing anything really different. It's our mindset's still the same. We still have our same goals. We still have our same challenges in some respects, and different challenges of how we do open houses. I would love to know what Matt's doing, to be honest with you. You mentioned he's had success on the virtuals. I would love to hear more about that if there's time. I'm looking more at numbers right now. I mean, you know me, Kay, I'm big on numbers and systems and models, and I'm actually going deeper dives into our P&Ls. I read, oh God, where's the book? I put it away. Profit First. If you haven't read that, guys, read it. Read it. It's the first business book I've ever finished. I always get halfway through a book and put it down, and I'm like, I'm bored. This one I actually finished, and I'm implementing. I already implemented some pieces of it, so cannot recommend that book enough. So it's things like that. I mean, for us, we're actually implementing now team stand-ups every morning. Before we were kind of more organic, and now we're purposeful. You know, 8:15 the hub talks, 8:30 the team talks. That's every day, just so we're all on point of what's going on right now.
And both of you have got children at home. So I know a lot of people on this call have got children, and we hear, you know, I mean, we've actually seen some of them, including our pets, our children. How do you stay this focused and work around that, having a family at home? Could you share some of that, how you keep this strong in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, I have, I always, before all this happened, I had to separate myself from the house because there would be nothing that I could get done. And my excuse was, I can't get anything done at home. There's no way. So I have to leave. My wife is in a fairly higher position in her elementary school and is on calls all day long. We have a 1-year-old who's all over the place trying to get on the stairs every possibility she can. And we have a 4-year-old that is, you know, very high energy. So I always told myself I couldn't work from here. What I've really focused on is jokingly to not try to lose my mind over it either. I think if you're trying to approach every day saying, I'm going to work 12 hours and I'm going to put on my regular day that I always put on, I think that's really difficult. And I found for the first month of this, I felt guilty every day when I wasn't in front of my computer, when I wasn't making phone calls. I was putting a guilt on myself. And finally I realized, look, I can be really efficient in 2 to 3 hours. And my maps coach said, look, how long does it take you to send out 10 text messages to your sphere? And I said, it takes me 5 minutes. She said, exactly. And those texts, those calls will do more for you long run than a lot of the other stuff that you're trying to do. And so I just decided, look, can I give 2 to 3 hours a day where I am focused on the business, working on the business, and for the rest of the time, try not to feel the guilt of not doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, spending time with my family, doing projects at home. I think it's actually helped clear my head quite a bit and help make those 2 to 3 hours a day really, really meaningful.
So what I'm hearing you saying is you're really truly in the ER, you're hyper-focused on what matters, top 20%, and the rest stuff.
Yeah.
That's been a great learning experience for you in this pandemic. So there's been a lot of positives, actually, even though I think a lot of the press and everybody else focuses on the negatives. I think we're all finding out positives. John, you mentioned a couple of other positives that you'd learned.
Yeah, before I say that, one thing Matt, God bless you. Having a 1 and 4-year-old, holy cow, having to do everything you're doing with that level of hands-on. My kids are 12 and 11, and I'm still pulling my hair out, but they're much more self-sustainable. For me, though, I'll give you an example. So right now I have a dress shirt on and I'm wearing sweatpants. That's how I see my business world working. So I'm present as long as I can, and then I peel off for 5-10 minutes, make sure everyone's okay, put out any fires, and come back and get back on calls. So it's not the same as it used to be, where I'd be in my office and I would close the door and I'd be at it for 2 hours straight, no matter what, get it done, call 50, 60 people straight. Now I'm pivoting, I'm having to do some things a little differently, and it's okay, and give yourself some grace that it's not going to be perfect. You have to bob and weave a little bit as time goes on.
Absolutely. And you mentioned one time when we were having a call yesterday that every day is like the day before vacation. Could you expand on that a little bit?
God, it feels like everything's so intense right now, and there's so much to get done. And like the day before vacation, I probably wouldn't come into the office. I'd be working from home because I don't want to waste the 30 minutes driving to work and the 30 minutes driving home. So that's an extra hour I can do. And that is every day. And I'm finding like I'm starting my days now at 6:30 or 7 on the computer. I'm getting ahead of everything. And we're having to reinvent in some ways, like Matt said, open houses are different now. So how do we do that? How do we attract people? It's not the same world. So I'm more hands-on for those things. And so it feels more intense. And at the end of the day, I'm a lot more tired than I usually am, but it's a season. This is not going to last forever. So, and I think the outcome, a lot of the things that we're doing now will stay permanent. And I think I mentioned to you yesterday, Kate, that I got an email from a realtor in a different location who was, he was marketing to people, hey, he took 2 months off because of COVID and he's glad to be back in the business. And my first thought was, what in the heck are you doing? That doesn't make sense. That's not I want to get ahead of those people. I want to come out on this, like Gary said, survive and thrive and do it at the same time. And I want to be thriving while this is happening. So when we open open our doors again, that we're going to be kicking butt and taking names. So this is a season. It's okay.
It's a season. So we're really into seasons of life, like Jim Rohn talked about. I'm not quite sure which season we're in right now, but we're definitely in a season. And so you mentioned some things that you're going to take forward, some things you've learned and you've implemented. Obviously, both of you have talked about technology, open houses. Can you expand on that, on how you follow up and with the open house, the virtual open house? How do you actually do that? Let's start from the beginning. How do you actually do the open house and follow up? And then somebody asked a question about adding on the social media layers to that. Could you explain that kind of on a process perspective?
Yeah, so we have not, and in all honesty, we have not really gone too deep into the virtual open house. We're working on it. We're not quite there yet. Social media still is this maze of, okay, you want to do an open house and you want to have 50 people on it viewing it, but how do you actually make that happen? The house that you're doing, your sphere may care or not care about that property. We did it actually this past weekend. We did a combination. So we actually did an in-person, and we're being obviously very careful. Our agent's actually staying outside of the home and one group at a time and all that. And we know that even if you do an in-person open house right now, you might get 2 to 3 groups. What we know is that those people are very serious. If they're out, they're very serious. And we're then also posting that on all the yard sale sites. So on Facebook, there's hundreds of yard sale sites, whether it's per city, per county, per location. And we're finding that if we just post it on there and say, hey, click this link, and then we can do pictures, we can do video, and we can get some movement and some traffic there. It also does just drive interest to the home. And then it's just follow-up. I mean, open houses, I think part of the reason they've been so successful for me is that I'm obsessive about not letting people forget who I am. I followed up yesterday with a gentleman I met in December who has not yet responded to a call or text of mine, but I just listed a house in the neighborhood that we met at. And I just am continually just sending messages and texting. At some point, he's either going to tell me to go away or he's going to buy a house with me. And that's how I see open houses. And so I think that's partly why we've been successful. It's that follow-up, whether it's virtually, somebody messaging us on a Facebook Live, asking a question about a property, or someone that walks into a property and seems interested. There is business there. And what I've found is that most realtors will stop following up after the first or second try. And it's almost this rule of, hey, who's willing to go to the level of crazy on their follow-up that's going to earn the business? And what I've decided is, I guess I am willing to go to that level, and it's been very, very successful.
So you're either crazy or you have constant communication. I'm not sure.
Exactly.
A little bit of both, maybe. Yeah, definitely a massive. So, John, can you tell me a little bit about, what your ops director has done for you and why you're looking at this expansive growth?
Okay, and just to circle back on Matt just said, I think the big takeaway from what Matt just said was have a system and follow it and be relentless on that system. And I think that's where people fall apart, especially on open houses. They're looking for the low-hanging fruit and the easy. And I think Matt's got that figured out, which is great. So you had asked me about how our ops team is there to attract talent.
Well, not just attract talent, but how did you find the ops director? What difference did they make for you? And why suddenly going from being a certain number of transactions for years to going to the 100, that this is your year? Obviously.
Great question. So I am a high detail person. I'm not your typical team lead person. I'm not the high I, high D. I'm more of a high SC, CS type personality. But I'm competitive and I hate getting things wrong. And so I had to find people that could do that better than I could. And so we found Andrew first. Actually, Andrew hunted me down and I brought him on 3 years ago. And he's a really creative, got some great ideas in his mind. He's a marketing genius around things. And then we found Paula, who is our operations client care person, and she is really great at systems and loving on people. And so Andrew has now pivoted into what I call a growth director because he lead generates for us. He's got a big database and he's not afraid to talk to people. So he calls realtors every day. He calls his database every day. He leads our agents every day and what they're doing and how they're doing it. He's a high social, high creative, and he's got some systems in him too. And so he's great on that piece. And Paula is better than I am on the systems piece of putting things together. So having those two people who have very unique skill sets, one, it frees me up. So I literally was going from calling 5 people a day to 10 people a day to 50 people a day, just because of that. And so that has freed us up to have exponential growth. And then number 2, having those 2 key players attracted Seth Lizzie, now our newest agent, Shayna. By the way, Shayna joined us the first day of quarantine. And so she has been nothing but virtual with us. And having Paula and Andrew on that place for her to plug into has been key. So just having those people who know what they're doing and can just take it over and I don't have to deal with it has been a game changer for me.
All right, so great. So it really is about having the right people around you.
Yeah.
And creating that. Matt, you just suddenly you kind of started building a team. And how, obviously you've got some great agents you mentioned. How did you find those guys?
So I am admittedly the least systematized person you've ever met in your life. I part of what I like about real estate is some of the chaos that follows it. And and the leadership in my office that's helped me grow is it's probably the one thing that they say, look, when you get to the point where you're going to really get systematic, that's when you're going to explode. So I'm having to force myself to do that, knowing that I am the worst person to take that role on. I actually had a meeting with my team 2 days ago, and I said, guys, we need to protect the business from me. Okay, that's really the most important thing. Let me get out and talk to people. Let me hustle, which is what I enjoy doing every day, and we will continue growing. So in a way, I guess I didn't follow the model because it's not something I would typically do, but I got to the point where I felt like I needed a transaction coordinator. Brought someone in who just has a lot of years in real estate, so the transaction side was really turnkey for her. Just the other day now, I've hired I'm not really sure what the title is going to be. I think client care, but what I typically do is see a gap and I try to hire to fill that gap. And what I've noticed is we go into neighborhoods, we list homes, we do really well. We sell them quickly, we sell above asking, our marketing's fantastic, and we are failing at telling the world around that house that we are their best option. And so I've hired somebody now to specifically do that. And I told them yesterday, every time we sign a listing agreement, it almost needs to be a button that gets pressed and 5 steps happen without me being involved in it at all. And I've hired somebody that I trust a lot to really do that position, and also take a lot of the follow-up with agents on, our listings, the showings that are happening, following up with those agents, just so we can make sure the communication back to our clients is good. So in a way, I'm kind of going backwards on this a little bit, just because I'm seeing where there are some gaps, but I'm also seeing it's gaps that I think are costing us more opportunity, not necessarily costing us business, but costing us, going into a neighborhood and listing 1 home versus listing 5 homes, right? And that's really where I'm trying to fill and expand.
Okay, fantastic. So it's back down to that mindset, a decision, looking at your business, literally treating it kind of in the ER, where are the gaps, put in a system or a person to fill that, to grow, right? So we're really in a growth mindset. So right now, people outside of our world and your positive enthusiasm, the story that the press is telling is not necessarily the ones that we're hearing from you two gentlemen. What's the message you share with your sphere? How do you do that?
For us right now, it's real estate's hyper-local. I'm sure everyone was on Gary Keller's call yesterday, and of course he's looking at the world from a national, international standpoint. So he's seeing things very differently. But for Richmond, like, we're watching our daily numbers on our MLS dashboard and just watching the number of homes going into contract far exceed the number that are going on the market. We're looking at the local economy numbers, like what's happening with jobs in our area. And then one of the best things you can do is talking to your database. And you'll know exactly how much business you got coming away or you don't, because if everyone you're talking to is losing their job, you're in trouble. Or you're gonna get into the short sale foreclosure market very quickly. So right now, all of our conversations with our database is everyone is doing well. I mean, they're not doing great, they'd rather be back at work, but they're doing well. And so just having those conversations day in, day out, and watching your MLS numbers should give you at least a 3-month indicator of what's coming up your way. And so that's the number 1, 2, 3 and things we're doing going forward.
So you're looking 90 days out. What about you, Matt? I know you follow trends.
I think we're trying to be very real with people. I mean, I have people ask me, so what do things look like? And my favorite line right now is, look, we know what today is. I can't tell you what tomorrow is going to be. I can't tell you what 30, 60 days from now will be. If you're selling your home, what I can tell you is there's a massive lack of inventory here. Homes are still going at or well above ask. So what we know is that information. None of us know what 60 days from now is going to look like, not only in the real estate world, but in our personal lives, in our business worlds. And I actually think that that's helped people not get a sense of urgency as much, but we're not trying to sell a dream that we're not able to sell, right? And you know that there's agents that are on both sides of it. There are people that are saying, oh, everything's great, sell and buy now, everything's fantastic. And there's others that are saying, no, go put your head in the sand and go hide in your bunker because none of us know what's going on. We're trying to find kind of that happy medium. And I just listed my neighbor's house a couple of weeks ago, and I've had this big goal of getting a listing in my neighborhood. And I finally got it. And my client is very tough, no BS, no nonsense. He intimidates the crap out of me every time I meet with him. But the second time we met, he looked at me point blank and he said, if we had met yesterday and you had told me to wait to list my home, you would have never listed my home. And I had that moment where I went, that's right, because I walked in and I kind of kicked the door down and said, let's sell it now because this is the right time to do it. And he really appreciated that. So again, just the messaging of, look, we know what today is, we don't know what tomorrow is, but we can tell you how things will go right now has been really helpful.
So basically being in the moment.
Yeah.
They are getting there with them. And I heard it described actually by our operating principals. At best, we've got a cloudy crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we don't have necessarily the clarity that we had, and we're all in that moment. So
Mm-hmm.
says to be, Gary Keller says to be real and be right. And that's even, would you feel that's even more important right now with your sphere?
Yes, because if you try to be anything other than genuine in this moment, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to the people that you're talking to. And I think ultimately, you know, I've said before, I would rather have you be happy with me and not get a deal out of this than get a deal and have you hate me afterwards. And in this moment, I think that's even more true, right? Because everybody, and this is probably the first time in our lives that that's been the case, every single person you talk to has the same amount of doubt and worry and concern over how we're living and what life is and going to be than you do. And I think we are all in this great equal stance right now where we're normally not.
Thank you. John, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I 100% agree with Matt. And I think those are just constant conversations you need to have with people. And if you want to layer up on that, create a bomb video and send it out to your entire database and just talk them through what you're seeing and just be real and honest of what's going on. And I think, yeah, people can sniff out when you're trying to make a sale versus take care of somebody.
All right, so great. So you mentioned video, bomb videos, social media videos.
Mm-hmm.
Are you adding a lot more in on those layers?
Well, yeah, I mean, before this, we weren't doing any. So we went from 0 to 100 on that piece. So we felt when the market was shifting so quickly or the news was changing so quickly, we couldn't wait to call our entire sphere. So we had to get quick messaging out. So we started doing videos around that. I'm doing videos. All the agents on my team are doing their own videos to their own database so that their people can see them. And I think it's just communication. So if something comes up quickly, make a video out of it so you can reach everybody quickly versus waiting for the next 90-day cycle to come around and share that with them. So that has been a nice layer up touch just to get out quick messages to people. And we're still very much in the infancy of how to make it work best.
Okay, great. So if there's just if somebody can, if you've got questions, if you can write them in the chatter, that'd be great. We're going to get to Q&A in a couple of minutes. And I just wanted to wrap this up. If you've got one thing that you've learned during this pandemic that we still find ourselves in, working from home, that you could give some advice to people listening today, what would it be?
Just go. Just get off your butt and go. I mean, I hate to be so so rash, but the more you sit and the more you don't reach out and the more you worry about what's coming, in all honesty, the more time that an agent like myself is going to be trying to meet people you know. And you have one option. The option is to sit and worry or to go after it. And I think that's one thing that Bold taught me right from the beginning. It's me or the next guy. And one of us is going to get the business or the next agent. And you know, now's the time when people are worried, when people are scared, make them feel better, make them feel like you're there as a resource. But there is so much opportunity right now. And in a way, the first couple of weeks of this happened and I went, oh man, we were on this track to have this great year. And now this has happened and everything's going to stop. And then one morning I woke up and said, no, let's just keep doing what we were doing. And my pending board is now full. I need a new board. So just it's so simple, right? Success is not easy. It's simple, right? Was the line? Live that, because it is out there for you, and you just need to go get it.
Fabulous, John.
And to add to that, I would say give yourself permission to fail or to screw it up. Don't, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be right every single time. Try something new and get at it and be consistent. To Matt's point, get out there and do it, because once again, if you're not calling them, we will be. And we want to make sure that we're touching the best people we can. Overall, lost my train of thought. We want to be consistent in what we do, but at the same time, I keep telling my team, guys, don't be afraid to screw it up. If we mess it up, that's fine. We're trying new things. We're taking new chances, but get out there and just go after it.
So what I'm hearing you say is, your mindset is really get out and do it with intensity, with caring, with being in the moment, and to use an old adage is feel fear and do it anyway, because you will make mistakes and it's okay, just do it, right? I think.
Yeah, I mean, people expect to see you being real. People expect to see your kids walking past you as you're talking to someone. It's the world we live in now. It's okay. Yeah. Just go after it. Do it.
Yeah, that sat on the keyboard yesterday when we were talking, exactly. So before we get to the Q&A, we're not the first ones to live through a pandemic, today is actually a celebration of Victory in Europe Day in 1945. So there's parties going on in the UK as best they can outdoors, and people doing various things. So we are not the first generation to live through something we've got fear associated with it or uncertainty. And I wanted to end it on a quote. I know Bo likes this quote, so I actually found one. It was by the VP of AT&T, Arthur W. Page, and he was born in 1883. So he lived through different changes. He said, "Don't be afraid of ideas that are contrary to present practice. Most everyone who gets to the top gets there for doing something different." So I think I'd really like to thank you guys. You're obviously doing great work. And I've got some Q&As from these folks here. So, and if I miss your question, we've got quite a lot here, please put it back in the bottom again. So could you just give briefly, your team structure, kind of who's an admin, just reflect on that. John, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, so I've got 2 full-time admin, we got a part-time runner, and I have 3 other agents, including myself.
Okay, Matt?
Oh, I'm sorry, on top of myself, yeah.
Okay.
So I have my longest standing admin has just transitioned to really just be a transaction coordinator, listings, really all the way through. We have an admin now that's going to be our client care, and then 2 agents here, full-time agents in Virginia, and then we have a part-time agent in Maryland, and then myself.
Super. And how are you using Command to generate leads?
For us, it's the Facebook ad accelerator. That's the one thing we're doing right now. We just started launching it, so we're screwing it up, and that's okay. We're figuring it out, but it's working. So far, the leads are coming through. Now it's, what are the conversations we need to have around those leads that works best.
Okay, cool. Thank you, John. I think we can have success and converting leads. So layering social media. What kind of social media posts do you do? What kind of social media? That's a generic term. What do you actually use?
So I, for a long time, wanted to find the social media genius that could just do it for us. And what I have consistently found is social media is personal, it's natural, it's not complicated, it is consistent. So I have an Instagram for my personal and a Facebook for my personal, and then a business Instagram and Facebook, and they're all kind of tied together. Stories are the big thing now. Stories are really what people are looking at. So if you put up a post with a long description, nobody's reading it, right? Your 3 best friends are reading it and nobody else is, but most people are scrolling through stories. And so I've really tried to, at the end of the week or a couple times a week, I'll take the last 4 or 5 pictures that I took on my phone, and it'll be a mix of personal and business, and put them up there. I want to show business success. I want to show business activity, because that activity, when my sphere sees that, it convinces them of what I want them to know, which is that I'm a very active, successful real estate agent, and I'm the one that's going to take care of them. And and that I'm helping other friends. So if we have mutual friends, those people are tagged in my stories, and all of that for the most part gets shared to our business Instagram page as well. And that has been a fairly good lead source for us.
So basically, you're putting a positive mindset message out.
Consistent. And look, as realtors, we see some ridiculous nonsense in some of these houses, right? I mean, there are things that we see that we go, what are these people thinking? And wow, that's crazy. Or look at this amazing pool. And that's what your sphere and your friends, they want to see that stuff. So the more you put that up, the more you'll get somebody going, hey, we actually were thinking about maybe selling, have you done anything in our area? Yeah, absolutely. And that conversation starts. I've had 2 this week of kids that I never thought would talk about real estate with me, and we have conversations going now.
Fantastic. Thank you. John, anything to
Yeah, we're
add?
using it to tell our story about what we do as our team. And so whether it's telling the story about one of our listings or telling the story like we did a big support of 5 local restaurants, and we were offering discount gift cards that we were paying for to drive. Our goal was to drive 50 pieces of business to 5 restaurants. So we were, what is the story we're trying to convey? What is it we're doing for community outreach? I hate social media personally. I don't do anything personal on there. I'd rather burn the damn thing to the ground, but it's a great way for us to tell our story. And so it's in my team having to force me to do something personal every now and on there as well. So I let Andrew and Paula and my younger members of the team direct how that works. And I say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and do what they tell me.
Fabulous. So mindset of the team. Can you share us a little bit about what's a team stand up? What's a hub talk? What do you actually say in those to keep the mindset and the energy of your team going?
Yeah, so for us, the hub stand up happens first. And so that's just me, Paul, and Andrew talking about, okay, what needs to be accomplished today? What's our message for the team? What are we missing? What are the holes that we're, as a hub, missing in talking to our team? And that usually ends up being a very full 15-minute conversation. And then we pivot to the team conversation. And some days it's, hey, this is what we're working on. What are your goals for the day? Or what is it look like? What are you struggling with? And sometimes we have nothing to talk about, so we just say hi. Our Wednesday meetings, I have my BNI meeting in the morning, so I can't be on that call. And I suggested to the team, do you want to just cancel these? And they're like, no, we want to see each other. So on Wednesdays for them, it's just to get together and laugh and say hi and not talk about business. So it's just a way for us to see each other face to face and keep the team communication going and allow those conversations that need to happen.
Okay, fabulous. Another question, are seller listings coming from your database? If not, how are you generating those clients?
Database.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the last few, certainly database. But again, open house this weekend that we did, we had 3 groups come through, and one of them is a seller and a buyer, and listing packet getting dropped off today with a bottle of wine. So still happening.
All right, so great. So anything else you want to add before we close? I think we're pretty much out of questions on that.
One thing, a lot of people say, the touching of the sphere and the calls and that stuff. And I agree. I've been trying to figure out how to get in front of people that have done business with us before or might do business with us at some point, or, people that we want to have kind of a good relationship with. So a few weeks ago, I want to do client events. That's what I like doing. We can't do a client event right now. So I went to Total Wine. I bought 6 or 7 cases of a decent wine. I got Total Wine to give me a good price on it. We ordered wine bags, and we put a sticker on it that said, because it's 5 o'clock all the time everywhere, and with our logo and just, thanks from our team. And I had a runner drop them off. I have had more text messages, thank yous. I mean, I had a phone call off a client that I thought hated me yesterday and just thanking me for the bottle of wine that we dropped off at her house. And that, it cost me, between a runner and all the wine, it probably cost me $500. But I think the lasting impact of that will generate a lot going down the road. So just be creative. You might not be able to go see everybody and say hi or shake hands, but you can do some other things.
Okay, cool. All right. John, anything?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I've been calling people for 15 years, and every time I look at the phone, I have to get through those first two, and they're the hardest damn calls every single day. So if you're having that fear of calling, they don't want to talk to me, or what do I say? Take a list of 5 or 10 people, get through the first two, and then it goes so much easier after that. So don't be afraid of those first two calls.
So basically what I'm hearing, just wrapping it up, is your mindset right now is pretty much how it was. It's just being hyper-focused, more efficient than it was when we were not in a pandemic. And really just do it, right?
Yeah,
Just do
agreed.
it. Just do it. So thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a great honor, and I'm going to hand it back to Joe.
Thanks, Kay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. Thanks, gentlemen. I really appreciate the honesty. I just saw that come up through the chat box. That the honesty of the call was phenomenal today. So really appreciate the time and effort you guys did to coordinate this today. So just some little housekeeping here. Getting into, just mark your calendars. We will have this, just to reinforce it, the agent preparedness calls from the region every Friday at 10 a.m. You'll see those dates, and we made it very easy. So thank you, Kiana and Lon from the region, in regards to getting the KWVA WV meeting link up and running. So it's very easy for everybody to access. Next week, actually, we've got Kate Papkin, and she's got 3 agents from the Metro Center group that she'll be interviewing. The topic will be coming out early Monday. So we'll get that out to everybody so you know what's going on next week. Moving into Red Day, we still have Red Day on May 14th. Each one of the offices will be doing something a little bit different. I know we got front yards of front lines going on for a lot of it. And I think this is a really important aspect of our culture that we need to make sure continues, even though physically we can't do a lot of on the ground stuff, but to make sure you're engaging with your market center leadership in whatever charitable efforts they're going through, and making sure that we're able to get that moving forward. So going into regional YouTube, just want to give everybody some regional resources that we've got. So we've got the YouTube channel from the region that Dave Donaldson is really pushing there. So if you have training questions, updates, command items, you've got that resource from YouTube. You've also got the tech Facebook page for the region. We've also got the Facebook page for the region, and also recently got the Instagram page going up. A little shout out to Dave. I really appreciate all the effort he's going to be. He's been driving the KW Virginia regional website. So we will actually have a regional website with resources, so you can go to one central place. So just coming soon in that regards. Moving into Pivot, also wanted to give all of the agents a resource here within KW Connect. So you can go to www.kwconnect.com/pivot-shift-ahead, and you can actually see all of the resources within on-demand videos in command for Pivot for all different videos, audible resources. So just want to make sure everybody's aware of that on Connect. We also have, James Nellis has driven after being in the Gary's top 100 or top 100 agents, he got a 30 under 30 collective group together for a mastermind within KW. We also have Bo on that, and that is today from 1 to 2 p.m. The Zoom meeting is below. Lon or Kiana, can we please have this emailed out to the Market Center leadership so that they can communicate that out to their agent population? So we will get that out to Market Center leadership after this call. And to wrap up with just another quote here, sometimes adversity is what you need to face in order to become successful. And I think in these shifting times, what our new normal is yet to be established. And I think the adversity that we look at is an opportunity for us to pave that and to be on the forefront of what real estate looks like. So as you reset as entrepreneurs, everybody got into real estate to be an entrepreneur, be your own small business owner. And I think when you look at that adversity and the framework you put around it and say, I'm going to be driving and get creative to think about how I drive value back to my clients, this is that time that you should be doubling down and really figuring out what does your new business and new normal look like. And that adversity is going to make you better. Finally, stronger together. It's been amazing to see this region come together with top agents, top leadership, and really pull people together to really prove our culture. So I just want to say, as you guys are going out there in the field and trying to figure out what the new normal is that we are here for you from a leadership standpoint. And this is a time to lean back into your leadership teams, that if you're struggling or having any type of questions and just need some guidance and some camaraderie, make sure that you know that your market center leadership is there for you through this. And that's why we're here. And until next week, so next Friday, we'll see you then. And I really appreciate everybody's time. And have a great Friday and great weekend, everybody.
Everybody, thanks.
Bye, guys. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Oh, forgot to say that. Damn it.
Oh, I got you.
Thanks, Kay. It was fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are great. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye, Matt.
See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.